Welcome right here on Signature TV. This is Signature Evening where we discuss what's trending and also look at other aspects of life affecting us in Nigeria. My name is Christopher Lele and I'm not here alone. I've got my amazing and beautiful Queensley.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Christopher. Good evening and welcome to Signature Evening. I am Queensley Roland, and of course, we are glad to have you join us today. In the highlights, first on the list is water scarcity in Enugu, and we have our guest in the studio to have this particular conversation and how it's affecting the lives of the people staying in Enugu State. And afterwards, we have another conversation on the single term presidency. This time, we are going to look at the constitutional aspects of it. We have a regulars on the show, Political Circle. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media handles. We are always live on YouTube 247 and on SLTV Channel 265. After the break, we will have a conversation started. Stay with us.
We are local.
The international community is observing
Why the main market is in chaos. People are
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken it by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome back. Quotes for the day. The two defining issues of the century are both universal but felt locally: the global water crisis and the resources boom. And that is from Jay. For our first conversation today, adequate water supply to community has been a problem for centuries and remains so till the present time, even in the advanced countries such as the United States of America. Public issues concerning water are known to have erupted sporadically at the local, state, and national level for about 2 centuries, while the problem of wise allocation is still very serious. Adequate water supply to community has been a problem for centuries and remains so till the present time, even in advanced countries.
So today we shall be looking at something very important. Queensley, when was the last time you stepped on the streets of Enugu and you didn't see water?
You should have asked me, have I seen water on the streets of Enugu?
Because
To the best of
it's
my knowledge, I haven't really experienced that. Maybe it's where I live, or maybe not, but I haven't. You just have to fend for yourself when it comes to water.
Because you just mentioned water scarcity, and it's funny how the streets, the bad roads though, you see water littering around, and the main water itself is scarce. It becomes a challenge. But then again, that will bring us to what we shall be looking at today. We'll be looking at water scarcity, focusing in Enugu, where we're based right now, and we'll be having our guest to do justice to that conversation.
Our guest is Mr. Ndodim Aniche. He is here in the studio to talk to us about the water scarcity, and our focus is in Enugu State because that's where we are based, and we can talk about. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Roland.
Okay.
It's nice to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Okay. So, just as Lee had asked earlier, water problem in Enugu. How has it been for you? Do you have water running in your house? I know the governor had promised that we'll have non-stop water, and to the best of my knowledge, we have not experienced that yet. So I don't know, how is it where you stay? What would you say about this?
Okay, I actually grew up in Lagos and I saw public water very early in the 80s until it became problematic. We built our wells and everybody abandoned public water. And that was how it was until I left Lagos 2001 to Abakaliki, where I started my life. Moved over to Enugu 2010, precisely. And when I moved over, just behind area command, there was water provided by the then governor, Sullivan. And there was a deliberate attempt to ensure that the water was steady. I know the whole parts of New Haven, Independence Layout, I can't really say of Transikulu. I can't really say to be precise. But I know there were steps taken to ensure water is delivered to people in that part of Enugu. And the water was steady. You could calculate when it is coming, steady. The bills were fair, and we paid. And from 2010 to 2015, it was a beauty, masterclass, without much noise. And things were working normally. When he handed over to the next administration, it became skeletal. 2015 to 2015 to 2019. 2019, from 2019 downwards, because a disaster. In fact, when the then governor launched private public water supply, we knew that this administration wasn't serious. Till 2023. This administration came on board, made so much noise, gave a promise 6 months. We're here 2 years now. Yeah. Thank God right now, to be fair to the administration, there have been works in my area and the water is flowing. The question is, will it be consistent?
Will it be consistent?
Will it be consistent?
That's a serious question.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Well, because of inflation rate, we were paying basically 4,000 naira in a block of 6 flats, 4,000 naira for the entire block.
For a month? Or for a year?
No, for a month, yeah.
Okay.
Currently it's now 11,000.
11,000 naira.
Exactly.
From 4,000 naira to 11,000 naira.
Exactly. We were talking, we've been screaming the states, the revenue target is what's this word? It's outrageous. It's not practicable. It's not workable. The budget they presented, based on an IGR of 540 billion naira in 1 year for Enugu State. So we're like, it's not practicable.
I know this.
So these are the issues we're looking at. And so, yes, my area, there's now water, but we want to see water in Transikulu, Abapa, Emene. I don't know, I think one has water. Down towards Gariki axis, these are extremes. We want to see water towards the entire area. It will be a plus. At least, let it be on record. Enugu State is the first state that's been able to address water in the entire federation.
And that would really, really be impressive.
It's a target.
It's really, really challenging to those residing in those areas. But then can we also look at it from the angle of the government? How proactive is the government regarding this? Because Christmas is around the corner. And these are periods that the season usually gets very dry, and you know how the earth responds to the dryness of the day. Yeah. So do you think the government is proactive to work towards this?
You see, I think maybe because we've not seen governance and we just think it's a rocket science. It's the political will. It's the political will of the administration to ensure that they achieve this target. Once the government has that will, they will channel resources towards that particular area and ensure it works. These are the issues. So this present administration, personally, they are biting more than what they can chew. Does it make sense? You have schools, primary schools around you are building smart schools, 126 at the cost of
260 smart schools.
260 or whatever at the cost of is it 1.1 billion? One outrageous amount or 150, But there are existing schools. You also want to start up an airline you budgeted 41 billion. You have New Enugu City. You have how many roads? You want to do so many things at the same time. You're not the central bank that prints money. You're working on a limited budget. So take a budget, take one program at a point at a time. Achieve it and you move on. Achieve and you move on. The administration of Suleiman was a beauty, was a masterclass. I'm like, is this real? The first 4 years, all the roads within the state was addressed with waters. The next 4 years was building external roads linking from Aban, from this express road towards Udi. From Udi, from Four Corner towards Udi down to Anambra. They also took road from Ugogo down to Suka. So you could see deliberate attempts to open up areas, and the state secretary, which was a beauty. So it's you plan things
So
one at a time.
So in this particular water situation, I mean, it was inaugurated that 120 liters of water supply was supposed to be distributed. I don't know for how many every day, but and so far, this happened late last year, and it's over 6 months that this announcement was made, and we've not really seen any significant changes. Just as you mentioned in other areas like MNF, for example, where I stay, we have water problem there. Is it that where it's targeted is just like the town area of it, or what of other outskirts? Is it out of the plan?
Okay, now, I like where I live, area command, behind area command. They pump water. It is that trunk road that leads towards MNF.
Yes.
So they know they know the gravity, they know the volume, they know the consistency. They have done, or they should know how to do the piping. The question rests with the administration. Channel, if you want to address water for the first maybe 2 years, 3 years, channel your resources towards it and resolve it. So your revenues, revenues are now, it's been doubled right now. So what are you doing with it?
Okay, speaking, you just mentioned the pipes. I remember then when they were trying to create room for that, they brought down stores. So many people were affected because of this particular situation. They had wanted to install pipes, and till now we have cases where these places have not been worked on yet, and people have been displaced. Maybe their stores, or they had signposts around there. And so far, it's been about 6 months since this process started, and obviously people are not happy because the reason why we were displaced from these particular places, we've not witnessed it. So what exactly is going on? How can this be addressed so that the people that had been displaced earlier would see reasons with the government, would agree with the government why it happened in the first place?
Well, you see, the point is scarcity of funds. The funds are limited, and so the government is embarking on so many projects. It's more or less like you open up so many war fronts. You're doing Scarcity, you're doing the conference center, you're doing the hotels, you're doing so many things at the same time. And so, your funds that are coming are limited, not unlimited. And you're not central bank that has the authority to print money, to print naira. So you're working on a limited budget. And so they will take things gradually as it comes. And the disbursement of funds will not be too frequent to ensure that that target is achieved. So the question now is, citizens will have to be patient, wait, and see if it will get to their area on time.
Okay.
all right. There was a statement making the rounds on social media. All right, this is coming from a prominent politician saying that Lekki water, people drinking Lekki water from borehole, they're probably drinking physics like water from, I don't want to use the word the person used.
Yeah.
Now let's bring it down to Enugu as a state. Looking at the water scarcity, the hygiene aspect of it. People getting this water, how well and how well treated is the water coming to them?
Okay, now if you look at the topography of Enugu, it's on a hill.
Yeah.
And so, depending on the area, NMA axis is a bit different. The topography is different, and the water table is low. Water table is high. Unlike we on this axis, the water table is very low. So you have to dip very down. And so, water has a natural filtration processes with all the layers. So it depends on which part of the aquifer you're getting water from. If you're getting at a very low basis, you could get clean water. We have a well, and we've been lucky that well has been sustaining us all through. Even in dry seasons, there's always water.
Wow.
So we're
Clean.
lucky. Very clean.
But
Very
not,
clean.
is it drinkable?
No. But you can if you want
But
to.
those
drink it.
days, they
If
do
you-
drink well water.
if
Those
you
days,
want
back
to,
then.
I drink it.
Where now?
I drink it sometimes.
Back then.
Not back then, I drink it sometimes.
And you're healthy, you're fine.
To God be the glory. So you see, different area, different area have different water tables. Some might come out very good. You never can tell. Some you just have to. I use it to cook sometimes. So it all depends on you. Or you can like get a form of treatment process, or you could get chlorine, pour it in, and it settles, and you use it. So the question now is there's a lot of enlightenment programs on how to filter your water, treat it, you can boil it. And we're lucky we've not had an outbreak.
I was
Very
coming
lucky.
to that because it's really it's happening right now in other states where we
Yeah,
have the cholera
cholera
outbreak
cases,
because of
yeah.
the rainy season, and it's like in the air. You know, it's a viral situation, so it's in the air. So now that we have water problem in Enugu State, do we see cases of cholera outbreak in Enugu State?
I've not really heard, to be precise. And just like I said, the topography makes it better for water to be filtered because it's a hilly process. So when water percolates on top, goes into the soil, it goes through a natural filtration process. And you have the plants taking advantage of the microbes, the nutrients, sucking it out, filtering it, and the one that gets to the bottom comes out almost good. Right? We're in the rainy season now, so the water is
Easier.
very clean. And so we are a bit lucky, unlike people in the rural areas where they go to take water from stagnant waters or stream. You find outbreaks. Well, the private suppliers of water have been able to like lessen the burden, so that fear is reduced. But that's not to discountenance the impacts of water that is not good. There's a fear. But I want a situation. I think it's only Enugu State that tries much as possible to supply water. Even in Lagos, I know maybe some, not the entire area, not entire Lagos. In first like where I lived, it was the local federal housing authority that was trying to supply water with a big dam. And it went after, I think, in the early 80s, and it went down.
I even think in Lagos it's not really a thing for them to
No,
get
it's not really.
because the likes of Lekki, Ajah, that has
It's a salty water. It's salt there. This is lagoon. It's salty water.
Yeah,
you have to
colored water.
colored
the WC
water.
is spoiled
It's
and water
salty.
Brown.
You have to buy a treatment plant, very expensive. So
Yeah.
you could say Lagos City is surrounded by water, but they don't have water. That's an irony.
that bad.
That's an irony. Same also for every other state in the country. I've not heard of any state that has. Okay, yeah, my mom's place, Owobo, there was a time from Owerri, water was flowing. That was in the 80s, not now. So I don't think Anambra does the same thing. Or Ebonyi, when I lived in Ebonyi, yes, water was being supplied by the state. I can't say what it is now.
Yeah.
So I think it should be every state or Nigeria, we should look at it. We've not been able to address water. We've not been able to address lights. We've not so many things.
These are basic things.
So these are basic things we should think of conquering as a country or as a people.
So you've mentioned some of the states you think are also affected by this whole water scarcity.
Yeah.
I don't think you mentioned River State, just as the name River.
I've never
implies.
okay. I lived in rivers, but
yes, we actually swim and live in water. But the challenge with the water is that the whole shell issue, the oil coming out, and the issue with food, crops.
Yeah.
And then the fish in the river, that's another challenge. And that brings us back to Enugu. Let's look at the health condition of the agriculture and food scarcity. When there's no water, how can these crops grow and get better? And then if you look at it from the food scarcity, because if water is not there to produce these foods, these crops, how can food be available in surplus and cheap as well?
okay. I don't like to accept a problem. There's a problem or a challenge. People see it as a problem.
Okay.
I see it as a shortage in demand and a market for it. Some will say it is either half full or half empty. Some will see it as a challenge. I see it as a demand. The entire Holland is not as big as Lagos State. It's very small. But the GDP of Holland is almost more than the entire Africa. It's below the sea level. Netherlands, you see, is below the sea level. Yet they produce food more than the GDP of their dairy products alone, when I talk dairy product, milk, cow, everything about it, is almost more than the entire GDP of Africa. Very small country. So we should not see it as a problem, or maybe the issue about water. The Germans, after the Second World War, all their lands were poisoned. They extract water from feces. Water is even expensive than beer. There's nothing heard.
Of course.
That's very expensive, but they've been able to address the water issue. We're in the midst of water. We're in the midst of rivers. It shouldn't be a problem. It's just our mindset. If we believe we can conquer whether water or food shortages, they use hydroponics, creating farms on water. You create farms on water. So there's nothing we cannot achieve. If you look at the same Holland, they are amongst the highest producers of cattle. Very small country. What they have in cattle is that of Nigeria is nowhere near half of it. Nigeria is how many times bigger than Holland? Lagos State is about 5,000 square kilometers. Nigeria is 972,000. So you could see the gap. So I don't see these things as problems. The issue is we've not solved water, we've not solved light. Food security is still a problem. We're crossing close over 200. So we just need to sit down. What do we want for ourselves? Every region, okay, if you want to use your comparative advantage, what does the Southeast have to produce? We have cassava. We can grow cassava. Let it be our comparative advantage. The Middle Belt has yam. They also have cassava. The North has virtually every cereal. Cereals, maize, guinea corn. Produce. We can feed the entire West Africa.
If we want to. Let's look at maintenance of this same project. You mentioned earlier that during the Sullivan's era, that a whole lot was done. Maintenance happens to be a problem as well. You provide things for the citizens, but they go about destroying it and also stealing, knowing that they are actually affecting themselves as well. So how can we work on the maintenance of this infrastructure if brought into place?
I think the problem with us as a people, or I don't know if it's as Nigerians or as Africans, we have very poor maintenance culture. Very poor. Nobody looks at tomorrow. Everybody looks at today, takes care of today, and damns tomorrow. These are government assets. It all belongs to you and I. Irrespective of where you live, even if you're from Enugu State or whatever. As long as you live in that state, you also contribute a quota to that state. So government assets should be protected. Government assets should be protected by citizens, by individuals. It's not nobody's, because it's nobody's property, it should be everybody's property. So that should be the attitude. And even the people in power, they are supposed to provide funds to ensure that these things are properly maintained. Not that you prepare, you build an infrastructure. There's no plan or a budget to maintain them consistently. You can see the roads built by Sullivan administration, this is 16 years right now has gone. They are all decayed. So there should be a plan to okay, on a yearly basis, or after first 4 years or 8 years, these roads that were built has to be maintained. And so there should be, we are yet to have a maintenance culture as a nation and as a people. So it's very, very, I don't know how we'll go about it, because we just have a long way to go as a people.
All right, thank you. You just like you mentioned, the previous administration focused really on water supply, and it seems this administration is not really taking this as a priority compared to the other projects at hand, knowing full well that water is a basic need that anyone should look out for. Do you think this has anything to do with politics? So it doesn't look like, because it's what is noticed in Nigerian politics, whereby previous administration does not want to glorify the work of the previous administration, to start with it doesn't look like the previous administration will now boast, I was the one that came up with the idea, you're living on my dream. What do you think would be the challenge? Because the representatives, the governor, the people that would have spoken up and looked for a way to manage this situation, people are crying. People are really losing out with this whole water scarcity. Imagine what you mentioned. Like 2-3 years ago, you paid 4,000 naira for water. And right now, you're paying 11,000 naira. That is money that you would have invested into something else.
Okay. That's a big, I know inflation and the devaluation of the naira has really battered the economy and battered everybody's means of livelihood and your spendable income. And the issue about water the politics should not come into play, because politics is more or less like a means to serve people. So irrespective of whatever administration, people remember what you've done. Like I speak highly of Sullivan. I'm not from Enugu State. I'm not related to him whatsoever. That was a gentleman that had a plan, and it was clearly written without much noise on the media. Neither was he even courting publicity or attention. So that's why I'm always worried about government or governors that are always courting and wanting to be seen in the media, pushing out media narratives or jingles all the time. I'm always worried about them. When you look very well deep down below, you see that it's just an empty noise. They forget doing the work but go to the media. You see, the money you spend in making your media jingles, divert towards the project. People will appreciate you. Because in 2015, I was campaigning for another candidate for governor. And the person that Sullivan brought as the next governor, people came basically just to vote for Sullivan, not the governor. So if people were really endeared that, hey, this man transformed this place. And so without making much noise. So you see, when you ensure that the basic, people will see what you've done. You don't need to make much noise on the media. People will speak for you. Even people that are against you will give terms to you that, hey, you've done well as a person. So you don't need to beg anybody. You don't need to be on the media making so much noise, giving jingles, water, 6 months. 6 months has gone by, and just face the work. Gradually, you will get there. And because this water is basic for everybody. And I will be happy if this administration succeeds in taking water up to extreme areas of MNA, Abakpa, Transekulu, Gariki, and across the entire state. That would be a big plus. And he doesn't need to make much noise. He will be accepted.
Let's look at this, just as he mentioned, this same issue. At the beginning of the project, you have them working day and night. Within 7 days, you've seen visible changes. And then when it's more like when they just start, before you know, the attention drops. You know, people don't work as hard as they used to. You don't see contractors at the site anymore. You could see some persons once or twice a week. Why exactly do we have that kind of situation? I mean, why don't they sustain the same force,
the same energy they started with?
There's always a pause midway.
You see, that's the problem about governors that want to play to the gallery and make people believe they're working. But right now, but they're actually going nowhere. When a government throws its weight behind any project, they will divert all resources to ensure it is completed. But when the government is not sincere and tries to play to the gallery just to make people believe that yes, it is working, they will arrange all the machinery. We will know that it's not going to be sustainable. They just go by the wayside. You see insincerity on it. I told you of the Sullivan administration. It was calculated attempts. There were milestones achieved daily, monthly, weekly basis. We all see it. In fact, it was through them I was able to see how a road was being constructed. There was a time that was from 6th Avenue to Gariki. There was a time I passed the road in November. The entire road was cleared, excavated. When I came back in January, it was a brand new road. Yes, 3 months. So it is in water. If they are started consistently in May 29, 2023, you will see milestones would have been achieved, and they will get, by 2 years' time, you'll be hearing so many parts of Enugu is now water. So, but to start a project and start and stop, you'll be wondering what's actually happening. It's all about the funding. How committed is the government towards achieving successful water supply? These are the questions. Amidst the many projects it is embarking upon, they all need attention. So these are the issues you need to look at. The budget is limited. And mind you, he has also obtained loans that has to be repaid back. So you could see the funds are going to shrink. So these are the issues you need to look behind and say, okay, let's see what he's going to achieve. We just have 2 years to go now. And we'll see the results for everybody.
Okay, you mentioned a couple of countries that are doing well.
Yeah.
You know, they really don't have the numbers or the geographical location, like in numbers, like large.
Yeah.
But then they are doing well.
Yeah.
You mentioned water that they have farms on. You mentioned cattle. You mentioned quite a number of things.
Yeah.
So the question now is that in Enugu, how can we use technology and innovations, to manage this water scarcity? Because when you were mentioning these places, I thought about the technologies they have that we don't have. They have access to these things that we don't have.
See, in this 21st century, impossibility does not exist. What is impossible is not accepted. In Africa, we don't have any excuse at all. We have almost how many months of rain? We have a lot of water surrounding us. We have close to 5 to 6 months of rainfall. Are you aware that a country like Israel is just basically a desert? They have less than 1 month of rainfall, very arid and dry place. Yet they grow all their crops. They produce almost everything. So, for us as a people, if we all sit down and say, okay, we can grow all our food, it's possible. We can generate all our water, it's possible. The problem is, are we ready as a people to do this? If we are ready, we will achieve it. It's all about us having the will. So let us achieve this. We will achieve it as a people. So there will be no problem, there will be no hindrances or obstacles that will be able to debar us from achieving it. If we all agree and say, we want to achieve this as a people, it's doable.
Okay, so the former Enugu ex-APC chairman, that's Ben Owoye, once criticized the present administration for the failure of water provision, for water supply rather, to areas that are in need of water. And that brings me to some of the speculations that have been going on that these tanker suppliers, water suppliers and what have you, they have been like sabotage. They are trying to do this, but it seems there are people working against this. What's your thoughts on that?
See, please, see. You see, that's is a hypothesis, or to me, it's a fat lie. I'm telling you, in all honesty, that was the lies or propaganda was being bandied for the 8 years of the last administration to justify his failure. We never heard of this during the administration of Sullivan. You understand? You see, when an administration fails, it throws up excuses. That's the same excuse the last administration was telling us, that rainfall was a problem for us not constructing roads. Sullivan's administration, we never heard of anything about rainfall. So when an administration is failing or has failed, they throw up excuses throw up hypotheses or propaganda of people trying to sabotage them. It's a fat lie, has no basis, only exists in the minds of warped minds, and they sell it to the public so that people will maybe have sympathy. That's a lie. When a government is serious about delivering projects, it's like a moving train. Nobody stands in its way. More especially when it has the mandate, the resources, the capacity, and the power to achieve it.
Okay, so
nobody can stand in this
looking
part.
at another situation now, are we ever going to get out of this water scarcity in Enugu State?
Well, I pray we have a good governor that has the real mandate of the people, not smuggling his way into power. I'm telling you, yeah, that has the real mandate of the people and has the love for his people and willing to serve, will achieve it.
Okay.
Do you think this is about his cabinet, the people that he has in his,
No.
his regime to work with him? Because if he, from his own angle, is not meeting up to see these things, there are people that came for the people, representatives that would have spoken up and made sure that these areas are looked after water-wise.
The buck stops at the desk of the governor. He determines the successes, the failures, starts and ends on his table. And there's no excuse whatsoever not to succeed. No excuses. Because I come from a private sector where you will not even be given every resources. You don't come back to give excuses for poor performances. It's not acceptable. With what you have, you're supposed to achieve results.
So let's look at the economic effect of this water scarcity. There are companies, industries that would have come to Enugu to do business, but maybe with these whole thoughts, they hear the rumor and the reality on ground of the scarcity. Do you think this could be another reason why some companies are also finding it difficult?
Well, water is also a component, but it's something that can be solved. The major problem for companies is power. One, power is almost like 60 to 70% of everything. Then maybe your access roads. Every company, just like your manufacturing firms, they need power. Doing businesses on diesel is not cost effective, so it's very expensive. Power is something. What they will do is, water. What they do, they just drill a borehole, get to the aquifer, pump, and they are good to go. The major problem for industries is power and access roads.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roland.
Thank you very much.
I like calling you that. It just makes sense.
Roland.
Of course.
I am. I'm just wondering, Roland. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roland.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
And you did justice to that.
Thank you very much.
Our conversation was on water scarcity, and our focus is Enugu State. Our guest, Dudim Aniche Roland, was our guest for tonight. And of course, if you're just joining us, revisit that conversation. We had a lot to talk about, and I'm sure you will also take a lot home. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll have our next conversation for tonight.
We are local.
The international community is observing
Why the main market is in chaos. People are
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
With a population of about 36 million people, the Southeast is awash with stories. Every day on Southeast News, we tell the peculiar story of the Southeast and her people.
Our Southeast should be the Silicon Valley.
of Nigeria.
Their successes, achievements, and daily challenges. Do you have a Southeast story to share? Community achievements and challenges, completed and uncompleted projects, bad roads, water scarcity, erosion, flooding, insecurity, or even disagreements? Bring it on to Southeast News. On Southeast News, no story is too big or too small. Southeast News. Let's tell our story. Showing on Signature TV every weekday at 4 p.m. WAT, 1600 hours GMT.